What's going on, everybody? Just got off work, on my way home. Little lady, late. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night. As I'm going to look for a few people like be listening and want to chime in, or maybe even if they're just chilling and then they just click the thumbnail. I've been trying to work on trying to make more appealing thumbnails to the audience. Things that'll probably make you laugh, and also things to make you think as well. Well, I got some reactions already, so whoever did that, thank y'all. God bless y'all. Remember, nobody tells you today, and nobody told you to remember that I love you, God loves you, Christ loves you as well. What up, Robert Brown? Oh, yes, sir. It's a midnight live. Mr. R. Sean from Clearly Drinking. Make sure you guys subscribe to him, supporter, and co-worker, basically, for a lot of things, especially on with C3. So shout out to him and everything that he continues to do. What's going on, Robert Brown? What's going on, brother? More likes. All right, so a couple days ago, I made a live off of work, and I was talking about Swerve Strickland's comments about. I haven't seen the whole interview neither. I only seen bits and pieces. Maybe all of it or a lot of it will be up tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll probably look at it because I've seen some things, but not all. And the reactions to Swerve's interview, a lot of people don't like him, or they don't like the interview. Booker's interview, I saw just the snippet of Swerve. The whole thing is on his YouTube channel, Booker T's YouTube channel, because he does his podcast, and I listen to it from time to time. He has clipped it to where he speaks about the Swerve situation, but then there's also the whole episode if you want to look at it. So don't swerve when you drive. I definitely will not be swerving when I drive, especially where I'm at. I can't afford to swerve because they'll pull me over and I won't drive. Bars. Anyway, so I looked at Booker T's snippet about the Swerve situation. So basically, he didn't like it. He was like, he didn't feel like that situation was necessary for him to speak about. I'm going to talk about both parts of this because trust me, it's two. And he said that he went to some event, and he said Swerve was actually one of the first people that he saw. So he said he talked to him, and he said that he was disappointed. He told Swerve that he was disappointed that he would even bring this up and even talk about the situation. Booker was saying guys like him, especially being a man of color, has paved the way for other black wrestlers like Swerve and other black wrestlers to do certain things and to make standards. He also showed receipts of when he gave Swerve praise for being the first black AEW World Champion. So Booker was coming from a place of love, and the fact that he said he talked to him, that shows something in itself. If he actually did it, that's some old school stuff. Hey, if I got an issue with you, if I see you, I'm gonna pull you to the side, I'm gonna talk to you. You get what I'm saying? I've never got a good impression from Swerve. Never saw him until AEW. He was on the independents. I've seen bits and pieces of him before he went to AEW. When he was on Lucha Underground, he wore a mask and he was called Killshot. And that's one of the first times I've seen him. He's had a couple viral videos of dancing with Will Ospreay. That doesn't help the case of the situation. But still, I know he was in NXT as Isaiah Swerve Scott. He spoke about it in the DJ Vlad interview. Then he had the hip row thing. I felt that they could have did more with it. Got released. AEW, whose house? Swerve's house, and boom, that's where it is. So that's where I heard much of Swerve was from. I think it was Sean Strickland, I believe at the time, but then he changed to Swerve and everything like that. So I'm in Chicago Heights, Dominic. Shout out to everything you continue to do. I said it before, Booker T is unfortunately bought and paid for by WWE. We're going to talk about that, Robert. The book wasn't or isn't bought for big, but all right, well, we're going to talk about that. So basically, he said he talked to Swerve and he said he was disappointed in him about the stuff that he said. Basically, Booker T is saying let it go. Let it go, Elsa. let the situation go. And then he did have some gems that he was dropping, because he was like, for some reason a lot of y'all think that like racism stopped in like 1990 or whatever like that. And he was saying like he's went through a whole bunch of stuff, and just because he doesn't speak about it, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And I couldn't agree more with him, because that is a fact. That is a fact. Yes, pre AEW, he was hold on, I gotta hit this turn. Did you ever work Swerve? No, I never worked Swerve in a match. I never did. You never did. So should be a great match. But Booker T is right. And I said this before. I've said, like, you know, just because people don't speak about it, it doesn't mean that they were either attacked or somebody talked to them about their skin color or anything like that. You know, Joseph R. credit, right? When I interviewed him, he said something that still resonates with me to this day. He said, my black could be different from your black. And I feel like that's one of the realest things somebody has said in a while, because just because is not a reason for just because, if that makes sense. Just because somebody feels a certain way doesn't mean that I should feel the same way or I'm obligated to. Maybe I want to hear more things. You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, that was a great quote, but still, just because Booker T doesn't speak about it does not mean that he has not went through stuff and still isn't going through stuff. Maybe he wants to worry about his business and even his job for working in WWE. You get what I'm saying? So obviously, like I said, I didn't like the Vince segment. I felt like it was unnecessary, didn't need to happen, but it happened, unfortunately. Fun fact, Booker T said that The Rock stole his moves. Yeah, Booker T be trolling too, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I can't sit here. Like I said, I'm about to go straight into eventually the DJ Vlad situation. So basically, Booker T did speak about, he said that he didn't do, he said DJ Vlad reached out to him for an interview and he turned it down because he said that basically that Vlad is the feds. Basically, a lot of people, especially black people, that go to the show and then they say stuff that is either incriminating or get them locked up. And then he felt like DJ Vlad wasn't for the culture. So he said they even tried to pay him the second time. And Booker T said that he had turned it down. Now, I agree with what Booker T was saying to Swerve about the situation, especially if it happened. However, DJ Vlad pulled up some receipts about him reaching out. Vlad reached out to Booker T in like 2020 and asked him that, like, was he willing to do an interview, because he was interviewing black wrestlers, because he had just got done interviewing Mark Henry. The messages say that the messages clearly shows that Booker T was happy, was excited for the interview. Vlad says allegedly that he had set up the interview for Booker T, but then eventually Vlad was late, and that's why it didn't happen. Now, receipts are receipts, and then I'm not even gonna lie, it's not a good look. As a person who is a uber fan of Booker T, and I know that Booker T is a company man for the WWE, the fact that there is some kind of text or Facebook or whatever it was about a situation about him actually being on the interview. And what makes it worse is, if this is true, the fact that it didn't happen because the person who was supposed to interview interview Booker T was late. That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm from Texas, Robert, but still. Oh yeah, New Jack. Classic leaving that late night Bible study, Book of Job, chapter 40 out. Man, Book of Job. I don't know, I said Job because there's a book called Job. But still, yeah. Yeah, definitely 8 hours, but still. Going back into it, it doesn't look right for Booker if he says that he turned down interviews, and then Vlad is showing receipts saying that, basically showing that Booker T was excited. Now, there's two things that people have taken away from that receipt that DJ Vlad dropped on everybody. One, Booker T basically was excited to speak and be interviewed by DJ Vlad. And two, people made fun that Booker T for having an AOL account. Now, I have an AOL account and I still use it, and I'm not scared to say it. So yeah, there's two people with dreads that's black from Texas that still have an AOL account. And I'm definitely fine with that. I know a lot of people be like, man, you still got one? Yes, I do. And I still use it and I check it every day. Vlad reached out to Ric Flair. Ric Flair was apparently trying to scam him. I'm not. If scamming is asking for a lot of money, Ric Flair does that for sure. Booker T would have an AOL. Yes, he would. He would definitely have an AOL account. It makes me like him more as a fan, but at the same time, but the new receipts is legit, bro. Booker T, you didn't even need to acknowledge the fact that you turned down Vlad. Now, it was 2020. Now, it could be they could have reached out to him other times, but still, the fact is that receipt, regardless if they reached out a second time and maybe you read or learned more about Vlad and you said no. But let me say, the negative stuff between Swerve and Booker does nothing but help Vlad, and people look at that platform and look at what Swerve said and go back and look at what Booker T said. I've said my stuff about DJ Vlad before. There's a lot of people who do tell on themselves, and who knows if Vlad's intentions are legit and genuine. Maybe they are, maybe they not. I don't think a lot of content creators, not a lot, I'm not gonna say all, their intentions are sincere and genuine. A lot of people are in a low part of their lives, and people interview them and ask them questions as if they're friends. Take them to the mall, feed them, all kind of stuff. But basically, they're just trying to make content and make fun of people or ridicule them. It's easy to say you're cool and you're helping somebody, but if they're helping you make money and stuff like that, and you see they're going through mental issues, that is a problem. Some of these guys that Vlad does interview, they're going through cases, they're going through things, and they can only say certain things. And then sometimes the stuff that they say, it do wind up being used in court. So I'm just saying, I've listened to a couple of interviews, and I don't listen to Vlad like as much as some people do, and some people do look at it for content. The biggest things that a lot of people do online as content creators is react to other people's content. Exactly what's his content. Shout out to you, SMP. DJ Vlad, yeah, he interviews I wanted to say just black people, but he don't. He interviews people about, in DJ Vlad TV, he's been doing it for a while. He interviews rappers, he interviews entrepreneurs, wrestlers, athletes, and he'll ask them questions about their past, what's going on, criminal background, certain things, and then sometimes people just be very open to it. So I don't really be as mad as everybody is about DJ Vlad, but these people answer these questions. They can say no, but some people do it. I bet my AOL account is sending all kinds of film. Hot girls, hell. What part of Texas? I'm from Beaumont. Beaumont, that's south of Houston. My AOL is deactivated. They gotta not self-incriminate. That's on them. Exactly. That'd be my biggest take, Arshawn, is that these guys and gals, they be saying stuff and they be proud of it, and it be on a public platform, and people are looking at it, and people who may have a case are going to talk about it. That's why so many people do it. There's other people that will probably give you more respectable questions, and like I said, that's on them though. Like, you know, a lot of people be like, oh, well, this person, just because DJ Vlad is a different skin color, you can't be like, oh, well, he's the reason why people are doing this and people are doing that. Nah, these people are choosing to do that. Fun fact, DJ Vlad just started interviewing wrestlers. That's why I was saying, that's why I only knew a few. I remember you reminded me about New Jack, because I was like, that's not something that he would really do. I only saying wrestlers because it's wrestlers that I actually liked and enjoyed watching, like Mark Henry, New Jack, they didn't even Swerve. But going back into the Booker T situation, absolutely, like, to me, if I had something serious I wouldn't speak. Right, you shouldn't speak about personal stuff, but the world, especially with social media and stuff, people tell, and I promise I'm gonna go back to the content. People be telling everybody their personal business just for content to go viral and subscribers and stuff. This is so random, and I'm going to speak about it. There's a lot of women, single mothers, that have these children and be like, single mom gets ready for this. Single mom, mother of how many kids, do this. And you telling everybody your whole business. You don't need to tell nobody your whole business. People go to work, showing people what they do. Not just women, men too. Here, come with me because I'm this and that. Putting your whole company name all in your videos and stuff. Company is firing you. They got people twerking in airplanes. Y'all airplane stewardess, and y'all sitting here twerking, going viral for that. Now you're going viral crying because you done lost your job. Like, everything doesn't need to be spoken about on social media. I promise you, keeping to yourself is fine. It's a hustle because a lot of these people get these followers and subscribers and likes, and then these people think that they are entitled to tell people their personal life, and I don't like that. You know, absolutely like to be seen. Only person that got locked up is killed because I took my drama. Yep, I remember that. I don't like Vlad because of the stuff he says proves he's not for the type. No, he's not. And if people can call him a culture vulture, sure. Now, I don't know how much of DJing he did and if it was hip-hop thing, but my thing is, people make him more important than... I'm not trying to be mean to Vlad. I'm really not. I'm trying to say it the right way. People give him more views and stuff because they continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? Even people who go do interviews by DJ Vlad, they say, oh, I heard about you. I heard not to tell you nothing. And then proceeds to tell him everything about them lives and their cases and stuff. Some people even think Swerve probably got locked up because some of the stuff he was saying to Vlad. I don't think so. I think Swerve was just doing Swerve stuff. Unfortunately, it's almost like it's in his DNA. But still, say the name Zilla. Excuse my car. He was a DJ years ago before his... Yeah. So, going back into it, be careful with your personal life. But as far as the Booker T thing goes, the messages was like, hey, did you want to do it? Like, did you want to meet up? Did you want to come to the studio? Because he was doing his own thing. Mind you, this is in 2020. Now, maybe Vlad and them reached out a couple years later, and then he said no, or whatever like that. But what Booker T said about Vlad, a lot of people have said the same stuff about Vlad. But like I said, it doesn't help Booker T's case when you said you turned it down when the alleged pictures are showing that you was excited to do the interview. And it makes it worse because it didn't happen because Vlad showed up late. So to me, that just shows how important the interview was to Vlad. Dang. Now, I would love to interview Booker T and ask him about his career. I've seen the things on WWE Network. I've seen stuff I've grown up looking at, stuff like that. So, hey, if you want to be interviewed by me, shoot, send this his way. It's all love, but man, that receipt made it look like it's lacking. And like I said, everybody knows that Booker T is a company man. And to some points, that's fine to be a company man, to enjoy working for the company that is, one, paying you and giving you opportunities and stuff, and you traveling the world. And then also, you got your own thing with reality of wrestling. He got his own podcast and stuff like that. He's doing a whole bunch of stuff. And like I said, he's still one of the reasons why I wrestle to this day. And also one of the reasons why I even got into liking wrestling was watching it with my great-grandfather. Him and Stevie Ray. Harlem Heat was like the first two wrestlers that I seen. Honestly. And that's just what it was. Booker was a great wrestler in the African-American community. Correct. I think that, and like he said, he paved the way. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get mad when people say they paved the way, but when you sit and think about what Booker T did, not only just as a singles competitor, but as a tag competitor with his brother Stevie Ray, they won the WC titles the most. That's a record. That's a record nobody can break. The most WCW tag team titles won is from Harlem Heat. And then for him to break out and branch out and to do something and to have people that was behind him. Mind you, the NWO was just like a big thing at the time, and it started to sizzle a little bit, sizzle out, but still, Booker T made something of himself. When you look at the old school stuff, and he like, remember the dance move, raise the roof, like he really was raising the roof, and the crowd, all those people was doing it, and people was happy when he won the belt and stuff like that, because nobody expected him to do it, but he did it, and now he was a 5-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion and a 1-time WCW WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So he's actually a 6-time champion. So there's a reason for that. I think the guy just had the it factor and the charisma. And then even when he showed up to WWE, mind you, the Invasion storyline, where it should have been so much better, he still showed that he deserved to be in a wrestling company. And then to evolve into King Booker, come on, man. Like, it was all good. So, like I said, I just think that he likes the company that he wrestles for, and that's completely fine. So you're not going to badmouth the company that you wrestle for. Even if there's bad things that's happening, you're going to give your opinion, the light version of it, and then you're going to keep it moving. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, receipts is receipts, man. Receipts is receipts, man. But like I said, with AI and everything, things can be definitely changed and stuff. But if it's true, it's nasty work. You didn't even have to say, hey, I turned down the DJ Vlad interview. You should have just said you was just disappointed in Swerve, and we would have just been cool. But now people just like, oh, Booker's being Booker. And if this is Booker being Booker, it's just Booker being Booker. Just saying. I have to agree with Swerve that McMahon's segment was highly disrespectful. I've always thought of that as a kid. He was written as... Yes, I've said this before, SMP. I know, I said this before. I didn't like the Vince McMahon segment because it was unnecessary. It wasn't needed, and it's online, it's on the internet. You don't want to know what's worse than being for the streets. It's being for the internet, because you might make a video 5 minutes later, delete it, and it's on there forever, even if you delete it, because somebody just screen recorded, or screenshot, and put it on Reddit. But still, the WrestleMania 19 situation with Triple H, where he should have won the match at WrestleMania 19, because Triple H was talking about people like him don't deserve to be champion, and he also talked about his locks, talking about nappy hair, and he said, come on, dance for me, Book. Yeah, definitely, Booker T should have won. He should have won that. It was so frustrating to see how he lost. Triple H gave him a pedigree. Booker T was out for a long time. Took Triple H 19 seconds to put his arm over Booker T for 3 seconds. So 22 seconds of a humiliation. I refuse to watch that match. I refuse to watch it. But if Booker is fine with it, then that's Booker. I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, you should feel slighted for that. You should feel better. That was just what he wanted. That's how he was fine with it, and he said he was cool with it. I also spoke about the N-word situation, because there's that viral clip of Booker T when he called Hulk Hogan the N-word. Booker T said he went to Hulk Hogan and apologized to him for calling him that, and Hogan was like, it's okay because I am that N-word. Does that help Hogan's situation? Nope. But I'm just saying, some people are not as attached to that word as other people are, even if somebody from another race says it. Some people, like I said, it can be derogatory, obviously, but it's also a form of endearment for a lot of people, honestly. You know, to me, I've always felt like, especially being the roots of it and it being so derogatory, nobody should say it at all, my personal opinion, but it's just in people's vocabulary for the right and wrong reasons. Mostly wrong, of course. I'm just saying. I get Mania storyline. Yeah. Yep. I just spoke about. Yep. Booker T definitely should have beat Triple H. He definitely should have beat Triple H that time. But then they didn't. Now, was the King Booker championship run, maybe that was they tried to atone, but it was too late. It was just bad. Just wasn't good to me. It wasn't. But like I said, if Booker likes it, I don't love it. I just think it just definitely could have been a better situation for Booker. But like I said, some of his wrestlers, they are I'm sorry, y'all. My kids put the trash cans so crazy. Oh Lord. But anyway, what was it? But yeah, I didn't like it. I thought that Booker should have definitely won the belt that time. But I did enjoy the King Booker stuff. I thought that was pretty dope. Not even gonna lie. But as far as going back to the DJ Vlad situation, there are a lot of people who do not do things for DJ Vlad because of this situation. And the fact that DJ Vlad even turned around and even had receipts should have said something right there. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get this part. But yeah, on Angle lusting over his wife, even though classic with the bumps. We good. We made it. We good. But yeah, going back into it, man. Yeah. If Booker spoke to Swerve, cool. Grown men sometimes need to talk it out. But still, lusting over it. But the Vlad situation, like I said, if anything, it helps DJ Vlad. Because like I said, I'm even going to look at that interview, Swerve's interview, and like see what he says or whatever like that. Because like I said, it's some stuff that he was speaking about how he got let go. Then he was speaking about the Hit Row stable that he was in. Then he also kind of spoke about one of the wrestlers, Top Dollar, but he didn't say Top Dollar's name. But Top Dollar knows he's speaking about him, and he has receipts himself. Everybody has receipts. You know how people had a book of coupons and stuff like that? People got books of receipts. So Top Dollar, he's upset because of the situation, because that interview is possibly going to put him in a negative light. And he's like, nah, I stick up for my peoples. And he basically saying that Swerve didn't do the same. He's alleging that. So, but still, just my thoughts. Thank you guys for riding with me home. Hope you guys are having a wonderful morning well, it's morning now. For me, it's 12:12. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you guys for rocking with me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, comment, everything. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home. Good night.